Hi everybody! Welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel for learning and fun, the one and only Nature Kids. Today we'll be doing history for grade 9. Today we'll be doing the first lesson of history and it's part 2. So, today's lesson is capture of coastal areas of Sri Lanka by the Dutch. So, without further ado, let's get started with the lesson. Battles for driving the Portuguese and establishment of Dutch power in the coastal areas. After the 1638 treaty, it took about 20 years to remove the Portuguese from Sri Lanka. The Dutch and the Canadian army captured many forts, including Trincomalee, Negombo, Galle, Colombo, Mannar, and Jaffna. However, conflicts arose because the Dutch did not return some important forts to the king, breaking their agreement. From the beginning, the Dutch acted cleverly in dealing with the king. Although the 1638 treaty stated that the Dutch troops could stay in captured forts only with the king's permission, they ignored this and occupied the forts without consulting him. They kept control of areas like Negombo and Galle, where cinnamon was abundant. This led to conflict, and the king refused to pay related expenses, while the Dutch refused to return the forts until their costs were paid. Conflicts between the king and the Dutch gradually increased, but the king Rajasingha II remained patient as he still needed their support to capture remaining Portuguese forts, including Colombo. The Dutch later made Colombo their headquarters, breaking the 1638 agreement and angering the king. By 1658, they captured Mannar and Jaffna, ending the Portuguese rule, but kept the forts for themselves. Realizing their true intentions, the king took steps to limit Dutch expansion by bringing more areas under Canadian control. As a result, the Dutch gained less land than the Portuguese. This situation led to the Sinhala proverb "Inguru di miris gata wage", meaning exchanging one problem for another. Relationships of the Dutch with the Canadian Kingdom. Among the Portuguese, Dutch, and the English, the Dutch maintained the longest relationship with the Canadian Kingdom. The Portuguese followed an aggressive policy, while the English captured the Canadian within a short time. The Dutch kept relatively peaceful relationships from 1658 to 1796 through communication and missions. But they also invaded the kingdom when opportunities arose. Therefore, their relationship with the Canadian kings was mixed. Now let's see the relationships between King Rajasingha II and the Dutch. Although the King Rajasingha II invited the Dutch to defeat the Portuguese, they did not return the captured areas, causing conflict. Between 1658 and 1675, the Dutch tried to surround the Canadian kingdom by capturing coastal regions. After 1670, the king launched strong attacks and regained many areas, showing the strength of his army. Realizing they could not easily defeat the Kandy, the Dutch changed their approach and maintained more respectful and peaceful relationships with the Canadian kingdom. Canadian-Dutch diplomatic relationship. Diplomatic relationships between the Canadian kingdom and the Dutch began during the reign of King Vimaldarma Surya I. During King Rajasingha II's time, several Dutch envoys visited him, including General Gerard Hough in 1656, which was the most important. Although conflicts existed, Hough was warmly welcomed and escorted into a general procession. The king was pleased with this respect shown by him. After King Rajasingha II, diplomatic relationships continued during the reign of later Canadian kings. These missions were often held to resolve conflicts and improve relationships with the Dutch. During such occasions, governors sent a message to the king, and Canadians representatives also visited the Low Country to meet Dutch officials. During diplomatic missions, both parties exchanged gifts, showed goodwill, and discussed important issues while listening to each other's requests. Since the Dutch governor and the king rarely met, diplomatic missions and written communication were important. King Rajasingha II called himself the Emperor of Sri Lanka, while the Dutch addressed him respectfully in their letters. The king referred to the Dutch as "Dear Dutchman at my service," and they ended their letters with "Your obedient servant," showing formal respect between both sides. Now, we're gonna learn about the year, the Canadian king who ruled that year, the Dutch envoy, and the objective or representation. In 1602, it was King Vimalodharma the I's year. So, the Dutch envoy who was there was Joris van Spilbergen. Objective or representation was discussing about commercial activities. In 1656, it was King Rajasingha II's rule, and the Dutch envoy was General Gerald Haupt. Objective of representation was invitation to meet the king and discussing the issues the two parties were faced with. In 1688, it was King Vimalodharma II's. Dutch envoy was Cullen Albus. Objective of representation was discussing a new agreement between the kings and the Dutch. In 1721, King Veeraparkrama Narendra Singha's rule, Dutch envoy Cornelius Tackle came to the Canadian kingdom, and the objective of representation was offering condolence of the Dutch over the death of the king's queen. So the Dutch emissaries and the king actually gave each other gifts, and now we're gonna learn about them. First, we're gonna see what the king got from the Dutch emissaries. They got flags taken from the Portuguese, 2 horses, 2 sets of Persian bows and arrows, sandalwood timber, and 2 Persian sheep and several other animals. Now let's see what the Dutch emissary got by the king. A gold chain, a ring, a shoe holder made of gold. So that's all for today, guys. Make sure to put a like and a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Please do not forget to subscribe because it makes me happy. Anywho, I hope you guys had fun rotting your brain cells or something, because it's time for me to leave. So it's your favorite YouTube channel, Nature Kids, signing off. But I'll see you in our next video. So until then, bye.